My screen is visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So now last period we have completed with the carotenoids and you all have noted also, I hope. So Rumisha will tell me what are carotenoids. Quickly. Noted na, Rumisha?
Ma'am, in the last class?
Last class, yeah.
No, ma'am,
Last
I
class
have not
what are carotenoids.
noted noted this thing.
Huh?
Ma'am, I have not noted this thing.
Why not noted? I am giving the time also. What are the carotenoids? So now Shravani has noted.
No, ma'am. I didn't attend the last class.
Acha, you were not there only. Okay, Barbie,
Yes, ma'am, noted.
noted. And just bring your mic properly. I'm not getting your voice proper. Can you tell me what are carotenoids?
Ma'am, they act as a accessory pigments.
Huh? But what are carotenoids?
Ma'am, lipid compounds?
Further, what else you have to tell? मतलब सब भूल जाते हैं आप लोग ये सब अपन ने कर लिया था that carotenoids include the carotenes and the xanthophyll and I gave you the time also to note it down that carotene they absorb the light energy and they transfer it to the chlorophyll A for conversion to electrical energy. So they are known as the accessory pigments and they form the photosystem. And the second one is the xanthophyll. Carotene or xanthophyll दोनों carotenoids कहलाते हैं. So they are lipid compounds naturally and further xanthophyll तो color याद रखना है आपको that is yellow in color but the carotene is orange red in color. Okay, so just that much only you should know that what is the color, what is its function. Okay, so the common xanthophylls, they have given the examples that is lutein and fucoxanthin. So fucoxanthin is present in the algae, but lutein you find present in the autumn leaves. So when the leaf fall starts, before that you find the xanthophyll lutein synthesis takes place in the leaves. तो इतना नोट कर लिया है हम आगे बढ़े कि आप लोग क्लोरोफिल आल्सो यू हैव नॉट नोटेड
Ma'am, that we have noticed.
अच्छा
Noted.
क्लोरोफिल नोट किया था बस ओके बट दिस आल्सो इज इंपॉर्टेंट यू शुड हैव एन आइडिया so next one is the phycobilins quickly note it down so put today's date and note it fast phycobilins they are seen in blue green algae and red algae okay so commonly the higher plants will not have them okay but the lower plants that is the algae which algae the blue green algae and the red algae has got these pigments which we call it as phycobilins and these phycobilins have been classified into phycocyanin and phycoerythrin. Children, this is very important you write it because when I will start with the unit number 1 the diversity chapter the plant kingdom we will be classifying and in the plant kingdom, we will be classifying the algae also. That is the thallophyta. You'll have done in 9th class the thallophyta, bryophyta, pteridophyta, the gymnosperm, angiosperms. So when we will be studying about the thallophyta, that time I will be using these all words. So what is it? Phycocyanin, phycoerythrin. Okay, so phycobilins are the two pigments that is the phycocyanin and phycoerythrin. So phycocyanin लिख के जल्दी से short में लिख लो red in color that is phycoerythrin word is coming from our erythrocytes children and phyco word refers to the algae. Okay, and the study of the algae we call it as phycology children. Is it clear? Phycology, the study of algae. So phyco word is meaning the algae. So erythrin word is related to our erythrocytes, and erythrocytes you all know they are red in color. So the algae में present red pigment को phycoerythrin name is given. Okay, so red phycobilin are called phycoerythrin and blue phycobilins are called phycocyanin. Noted everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Now don't say Rumisha next period that you have not noted.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I have written that, but I forgot to highlight that. That's why I've said that I have not written that.
Acha, you never understood only what I am asking. नहीं बिल्कुल systematically everything you try to note down. This is for you all are in 11th standard. You should know how to note the things properly in short way, so that later you can refer to. Okay, because so many things you are studying, physics, then chemistry, then biology, how much you will be storing at the same time. So you should have with you whenever you feel like reading, so you can go through the things. इसलिए लिखना जरूरी है. Okay, just listening like a story तो science students cannot do. Remember always. So always in the class, note down what is discussed today. Okay, so and we are doing everything in so much in detail. तो वो उतना नोट करना जरूरी है. Noted what is the color of the phycocyanin, Shravani?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the color of the phycocyanin?
Ma'am, phycocyanin are seen in red color. No, sorry, blue.
हाँ, अरे phycocyanin लिखो उसके आगे लिख लो blue color. Phycoerythrin you write down red color. Okay, and then both you find they are water soluble pigments. And they are present with the small granules. तो ये सब उतना समझने की जरूरत नहीं है. They have an open tetrapyrrolic ring without a central magnesium atom and phytoid chain. So the structure is quite same. They have the phytotetrapyrrolic ring and they have that tail also. लेकिन center में magnesium नहीं present होता है. And then function is same, that is transfer the light energy to the chlorophyll. So these all you call them accessory pigments, children. Accessory pigments का यही काम होता है. Center में chlorophyll pigments होते हैं. Chlorophyll pigment will continue the light reaction, means it will trap the sunlight and then help in light reaction. But जो आजू बाजू उसको surrounding जो accessory pigments होते हैं, they absorb the light energy and then they pass it to the chlorophyll only. They pass it to the chlorophyll molecules only. So that way, now we will start with the light. Children, you all know that photosynthesis cannot occur in the absence of sunlight. For the photosynthesis to occur, the light is very important. Now, you know that the source of light is only sun. Okay, the sun contains the light which we are receiving, children. It is white in color. But remember that white light, you have done in physics also, that white light consists of the 7 different colors. And what colors means that white light is formed of the combination of the 7 different wavelengths of light. Is it clear? And then that 7 wavelengths of light, along with that 7 different wavelengths, we have the infrared also and we have ultraviolet also. मतलब सन से अपने तक क्या क्या पहुंच रहा है. 3 रेज, 3 तरह के रेज पहुंच रहे हैं. One is infrared, another one is visible, and the third one is your ultraviolet. Now visible light is only the 7 colors which we have seen. So visible light gets separated into 7 colors. We call it as a spectrum, and that starts from the. We start with the violet, so we call it as Vibgyor. What is it called? What is it called, Shravani?
Vibgyor.
Vibgyor. And Vibgyor, can you name the colors?
Ma'am, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red.
Orange, red. Okay, so they all are having the different wavelengths, and the different wavelengths have a different effect on the plant. That is, they will be helping in the photosynthesis. The rate will be differing. Okay, so they are telling us that violet portion is 400 mu micron and that of the red is 730 millimicron. Beyond the red portion are the longer invisible rays called the infrared, and beyond the violet portion, the shorter invisible rays are there called the ultraviolet. So you find that रेड पोर्शन से ज्यादा वेवलेंथ वाले जो होते हैं वो हमको दिखते नहीं हैं, बट दे हैव द हीटिंग इफेक्ट and they are called infrared. So infrared will have the wavelength more than the red. ये सब लिख लो जल्दी जल्दी. Okay, infrared, visible spectrum, then the infrared, and then the ultraviolet. So infrared have the wavelength longer than the red. Okay, ultraviolet rays have the wavelength shorter than the violet. Shorter than the violet. Is it clear? So that way, an ultraviolet, you know that how the ultraviolet are reaching Rumisha to us or not?
No, ma'am.
Why they are not reaching?
Ma'am, because of ozone.
Because of the ozone, so that way it is prevented from entering into the earth atmosphere. Okay, now portion of the spectrum between 400 to 700 is called the photosynthetically active radiation. ये बात आप note कर लीजिए. We call it as PAR. PAR, that is photosynthetically active radiation. Means the spectrum which is ranging from 400 millimicron to 700. Noted everyone? Done this much?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now remember, whenever the chlorophyll pigment molecules absorb the light quantana, so they get excited. And when they get excited, they release the electrons. And those electrons are then accepted by the different electron carriers. And during that passage of path, which they follow during the transfer of those electrons, that time only remember the ATP synthesis will occur. So this you will be understanding when we will start with the light reaction. Okay, so now try to see here absorption spectrum. So they are telling that the graphical this part, the chlorophyll A will absorb the light of what wavelength? Then chlorophyll B, which wavelength? So absorption spectrum of chlorophyll pigment A and B show that these pigments mainly absorb blue light and the red light. So you write it everywhere that chlorophyll A and B absorb blue light and red light. Maximum which one they absorb? Which one they absorb?
Blue and red light.
Blue and the red light. So that we call it as the action spectrum. Jo light with the wavelength of the light which is helping in photosynthesis, we call it as action spectrum. So the maximum photosynthesis will take place in which wavelength of light?
Blue and red.
Blue and red. So this should be known to everyone. It is very frequently asked question in the competitive exams that the action spectrum shows that maximum photosynthesis occurs in which wavelength of light or in which light rays. So it is blue and red. Now I'll take up the next two pigment system. This is very important to understand, children, that during the light reaction, the two pigment systems are involved. Now what is the meaning of the pigment system? The group of the chlorophyll pigment molecules form the pigment system. So there exist two different photochemical processes associated with two specific groups of pigments. We call them as photosystem 1 or the pigment system 1 and the photosystem 2. Now both the systems have all the pigments, remember children. So chlorophyll A is the light harvesting system called antenna A. A single chlorophyll molecule will form a reaction center. This word we will be using again and again, children. Remember that I said the group of the chlorophyll pigment molecules, we call it as photosystem or we call it as pigment systems. In the pigment system many chlorophyll pigment molecules will be there. तो एक एक pigment molecule में reaction होगा. Okay, and that's why we call it as reaction center. So they exist as chlorophyll A. So chlorophyll A, that is P680, and the chlorophyll A P700. So P700 and P680, that we call it as reaction center. So you find the pigment system 1 has the pigment chlorophyll B, chlorophyll A, carotenoids, and the pigment, they will be absorbing the light, that is the light of wavelength 700 nm. That is why you are calling it as the pigment system 1. The pigment system 2, children, it absorbs the chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and phycobilins. So this pigment system 2 matlab kya hai? It contains those pigment molecules which will be absorbing the light of what wavelength? 680 nm. They will be absorbing the light of what wavelength? What?
680.
680. तो अपन उसको बोल देते हैं P680. That is reaction center P680. So the two pigment systems, remember, pigment system 1 and pigment system 2, or you call it as photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. The photosystem 1 will have the reaction center P700, and that will have chlorophyll A, B, carotenes. Okay, and it is active in red and far red light. Everyone note down this thing. Subheading you put pigment system 1, uske baad likh lo that it has got chlorophyll B, chlorophyll A, carotenoids, and the reaction center is P700. Reaction center is P700. So it is active in which light? Rumisha?
Red and far red light.
Red and far red. Now pigment system 1 or photosystem 2, now you try to understand. It absorbs the light. So reaction center will have the P680. The reaction center will be named as P680 because they absorb the light rays which are having the wavelength 680. So they have the A also, the B also, and phycobilins. So accessory pigment, इधर pigment system 1 में, photo system 1 में, the accessory pigment is carotenoid. Okay, the accessory pigments will be carotenoids. That is, what are the two carotenoids now, Barbie? Can you tell me what are the two carotenoids?
Carotene and xanthophyll.
Very good. Okay, and the accessory pigments present in the photosystem 2, they are the phycobilins. So phycobilins include what? Rumisha?
Yes, ma'am.
What the phycobilins include?
Phycocyanin and erythrin.
Erythrin, हाँ, बस ये याद हो जाना चाहिए. Isn't it? The names you all have to learn it just now. Now, the two discrete phytochemical light harvesting complexes are pigment system 1 and pigment system 2. So, light reaction will involve these two. What are these? Name it.
Pigment system.
Pigment systems. They are also called
Photosystem.
photosystem. So name them. What are the two photosystems?
PS1 and PS2.
PS1 and PS2. Okay, what is the reaction center of PS1? Quickly, what is the reaction center of pigment system 1?
Chlorophyll B.
Arey nahi baba. P700. What is the reaction center?
P700.
And what is the reaction center of the photosystem 2?
P680.
P680 सबको इतना याद हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? Barbie, quickly
Yes.
name the two photosystems.
And the two photosystems are pigment system 1 and pigment system 2.
हाँ, name their reaction centers also.
Pigment system 1 reaction center will be P70,
Again, P.
P700,
हाँ,
and the photo system 2 reaction center will be P680.
What you mean to say by P680? Why you are calling it with the reaction center is P680 and the other one is P700? जल्दी बोलिए, Rumisha.
Ma'am, I don't know.
You got an idea? What is the meaning of it? Why you are naming it as such?
I have no idea.
आई एम टेलिंग, ये बात अच्छे से समझ लो ऑल थ्री ऑफ योर, दैट इज जितने भी पिगमेंट मॉलिक्यूल्स इस फोटोसिस्टम में प्रेजेंट होंगे दे विल बी एब्सॉर्बिंग द लाइट रेज ऑफ द वेवलेंथ 700 and the other one will be absorbing the light rays of wavelength 680. Got it or not? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
हाँ,
ma'am.
आप बात समझ में आ गई कि क्यों हम 700 एक को बोल रहे हैं और क्यों 680 एक को बोल रहे हैं?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what are the pigments present in the pigment system 1 or the photosystem 1? Say soon.
Carotenoids.
And essential ones,
Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B.
chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. And in the PS2,
Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and cycloglobins.
again.
Phycoglobins.
अरे देखो कहाँ से कहाँ बना दिया. You are not seeing the screen or what? What is it?
Phycobilin.
Phycobilins. Shravani, repeat.
Phycobilin.
Now repeat. What are the two pigment systems or photosystems?
Ma'am, both the one that PS7.
You have to learn three things: the photosystems, their reaction centers, and the pigments present there, and which wavelength light they absorb. So say so quickly now. Shravani.
Ma'am, PS1 has the chlorophyll B, chlorophyll A, and carotenoids, and it
Huh?
absorbs that is reaction center P700. Then
Huh.
it is active in red and far red light.
Huh.
Then
Okay.
ma'am, PS2 is absorbed by chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and
PS2 is not absorbed by children. What is absorbed?
Light energy.
हाँ, तो ये बोलो कि PS2 absorbs. Okay, the PS2 absorbs the, और PS2 बना किसका है?
chlorophyll A,
हाँ,
chlorophyll B,
हाँ,
phycobilin,
हाँ.
and P680.
What is
It
that
is
piece?
the reaction center.
It is the reaction center. Okay, so what is the meaning of this reaction center P680? Why you are naming it as P680?
Ma'am, it is the wavelength of the light that is absorbed.
Means these chlorophyll pigment molecules will absorb the light rays of the wavelength 680. Is it clear? तो light energy वो अब काम क्या होता है इनका reaction centers में? Pigment molecules का काम क्या है? They will absorb the light quanta and they'll get excited and they'll release the electrons. Okay, so now quickly see the diagram which it is showing. This figure is showing that the from here the chlorophyll is there, chlorophyll absorbs the light, then you see the arrow going, so photosystem 2 is there, the electrons will be released, these electrons will be used up in the ATP formation. Okay, then the electrons will come to this one, light quanta hoga, फिर photo system 1 दिखा दिया, then that is releasing the electrons, that electron will be transported through the different electron carriers and then it goes to the NADP. So hydrogen यहाँ से water molecule भी आएगा, वो यहाँ NADPH में मिल जाएगा. So now we will do it in detail, the light reaction. Now we will see quickly. Chloroplasts are the green plant plastids which play a very important role in photosynthesis. Romisha, read the second point.
A chloroplast is covered externally by a double membrane called chloroplast envelope, and the inner membrane enclosed a proteinaceous matrix called matrix or stroma.
Okay. Now third point, Shravani will read.
The stroma contains a massive membranous system of lamellae or thylakoids running parallel to each other. In higher plants, the chloroplast shows two varieties of thylakoids, that is large and small.
Okay. Now Barbie will read. Next.
Chlorophyll is composed of a square-shaped tetrapyrrolic ring called the head and pyrrole tail of 20 carbon alcohol.
Huh. So all have learned these names that chlorophyll is made up of the tetrapyrrolic ring called the head and phytol tail which is made up of 20 carbon alcohol. Okay, now next Rumisha read it.
Carotenoids are lipid compounds and are classified into two groups, carotenes and xanthophylls.
Okay, now the next one. What is the color of the carotene? Rumisha? Who will tell me what is the color of the carotene? And what is the color of the xanthophyll? Quick.
Ma'am, xanthophylls are yellow in color
Huh?
and carotenes are.
Means not noted. Rumisha noted or not?
Ma'am, I have not noted the carotene one, but I have noted the
So
xanthophylls
why
one.
you are leaving the things?
Ma'am,
Why
by
you are
mistake, I.
not why you are not doing it in a proper organized way? Sentences मत लिखो, बस सबहेडिंग डालो और उसके आगे लिखते जाओ. How much time it takes? And I said also you note the color. Shravani, what is the color of the carotene?
Ma'am, I don't know.
Barbie,
Orange, yellow.
orange, red. So Shravani passing the time or what? Means I am wasting my time explaining you all these things. Isn't it? नहीं तो झटपट करके वो बस बता दे light reaction and you will not know what is all that. Note it down quickly the color. Next now, Rumisha read.
The visible light has seven separated group of spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet colors. The absorption spectrum is studied with the help of spectrophotometer.
Huh. Okay. So now, Rumisha, Shravani, if you are not noting, then it is useless to sit in the class because later you will not have anything. फिर सब भूल जाओगे जब अभी के अभी सुन के आप कलर नहीं बता पा रहे तो फिर आप कैसे याद रख पाओगे कल. So this should not happen. Note the things properly. Okay, and today after the class, take the pic of your lecture notebook and send it to me. So we have completed with the site of the photosynthesis. What are the different light wavelengths which are absorbed during the photosynthesis and which is the photosynthetically active light spectrum, and we have completed that what are the two photosystems and what is the meaning of the photosystem, and we have completed that what are reaction centers. So that is very, very important before understanding the light reaction, children. So now we are starting with light reaction. Quickly put the subheading in your notebook, light reaction. So now children try to understand light reaction. We also call it as light phase. So write it. Now where the light reaction will occur, Shravani will tell me quickly.
Ma'am, in the thylakoids.
In the thylakoids. Okay. So the thylakoids, can you tell me particular site in the thylakoid?
Ma'am, quantasomes.
Quantasomes. Why the quantasomes, Shravani?
Ma'am, uh, because it acts as a reaction unit to absorb light energy.
Why?
Ma'am, because it acts a reaction unit to absorb light energy.
Are तो why does it act as a reaction unit?
Ma'am, because quantasome is an expression of photosynthetic unit.
Why? Why it is an expression of a photosynthetic unit? Romisha, can you give the answer? ये तो आपको हम 10th क्लास 9th क्लास से बता रहे हैं. Why the light reaction will occur here? Rumisha. Barbie.
The quantosome contain the four pigments. Two are the chlorophyll A and B that are essential pigments. They trap the sunlight.
Ah, very good. This is the reason, children, that quantasomes contain the chlorophyll pigment molecules. That is why it is an expression of photosynthetic unit. That is the reason why it acts as a reaction unit to absorb light energy. Because the quantasomes contain, each quantasome contains how many chlorophyll pigment molecules? This number also I have told you in 9th standard and 10th
230.
also.
230.
230.
230. How many are present?
230.
230 pigment molecules. ये भी लिख लो. जब इतना बताया गया है तो फिर भूल रहे क्यों हैं आप? All this I am telling you, children, so that you can remember. If you have to prepare further for your other exams, so you have to be sincere, children. I am not passing the time here. We are doing very serious things and very detailed things. ओके सो सारी बातें अच्छे से समझना होंगी कि क्वांटासोम्स क्यों इट इज एक्टिंग एज द रिएक्शन यूनिट to absorb light energy because it is having the chlorophyll pigment molecules and each quantasome it is a bead like structure, children. Okay, and present in the inner side of the granum of the thylakoid, that is the thylakoid which forms the granum. तो ये आपको इधर दिखा रहे हैं the cluster of the photosynthetic pigments embedded in the membrane. ओके दिस दे आर शोइंग दैट हाउ दे आर प्रेजेंट. ये अंदर के मेम्ब्रेन के अंदर ये बीड लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स प्रेजेंट रहते हैं. ओके नाउ वी टेक अप द नेक्स्ट थिंग, the light reaction. Now what is light reaction? So mechanism photosynthesis takes place in two phases, light phase and the dark phase. Light phase means it is the phase in which the light is important or it occurs during the daytime when the sunlight is available. It will occur only in the presence of the sunlight. Okay, so during the light phase we require light and also known as the photochemical reaction. The light reaction is also called the photochemical reaction. Noted everyone? Now you write down light reaction time, what will happen. So first point you write down transfer of energy will be there, two pigment systems will be involved and there will be cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Note it quickly. The light reaction is explained by the following. Number one, transfer of energy. We will see then how the transfer of energy takes place. Then it involves the two pigment systems. What are the two pigment systems?
PS1 and PS2.
PS1 and PS2. Okay. And the third thing, remember, that is there will be the cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. What is the meaning of photophosphorylation, Rumisha? What is the meaning of phosphorylation? इतना बता दो. अभी अपन ने उधर भी पढ़ा था respiration में, cellular respiration में, that is phosphorylation was going on. What is the meaning of phosphorylation? In the glycolysis also you have written phosphorylation. Krebs cycle also the phosphorylation. ETC पे भी अपन phosphorylation देख रहे थे. What is phosphorylation? Barbie, Shravani, anyone?
Ma'am, attachment of the phosphate group.
So to form what? You specifically tell me na in cellular respiration what was that phosphorylation? See here the reaction is given. This whole reaction is the phosphorylation. Can you explain this? Can you see my cursor, children? Can you explain this? What is happening here?
Formation of ATP
Formation of ATP. How?
by the phosphorylation.
Phosphorylation. What is the phosphorylation here?
The ADP plus the inorganic phosphate.
Ah,
That
the ADP combines with the inorganic phosphate and gives ATP. Is it clear? And this process only children is known as phosphorylation. Okay, so in cellular respiration, this phosphorylation was going on. So you got 36 ATP molecules. Is it clear? But there we call the phosphorylation as oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, going on in the presence of the oxygen. But here it is photophosphorylation because the phosphorylation will be carried out in the presence of the sunlight. Is it very clear?
Yes,
Yes
ma'am.
or no?
Yes,
All of
ma'am.
all of you all understood. तो note कर लेना, इसको याद करो. Okay, simply just seeing the things and learning will not help children. Detail चीजों को समझने की कोशिश करना है. Photophosphorylation, why we call it? What is phosphorylation? That you should know. Here it is the formation of, तो किसी में भी addition होता है phosphate का अपन phosphorylation ही बोलते हैं. But in cellular respiration, photosynthesis, remember only one phosphorylation goes on, that is ADP combines with the inorganic phosphate to give the ATP. Is it clear? And then since this phosphorylation photosynthesis में जो ATP का formation होगा वो sunlight के presence में होगा, तो you call that as
Photophosphorylation.
photophosphorylation. Is it very clear? And then two types of photophosphorylation you will be studying, cyclic and non-cyclic. So I hope this much is clear to everyone. So light reaction में होता क्या है अपन ने starting में ही पढ़ लिया था, जल्दी से बता दो. What happens during the light reaction? Quick. Who is remembering? अगर if you turn the
Ma'am, may I?
pages, हाँ.
Uh, During the process of light reaction, two assimilatory parts, ATP and NADPH2, are formed or
हाँ.
synthesized by utilized in dark reaction.
Correct. So this only you have to keep reminding yourself again and again. Okay, what are synthesized?
ATP and NADPH2.
And what are they called?
Assimilatory parts.
POWERS, children. It is parts, not parts. Okay, assimilatory parts. POWERS. Corrected?
Yes, ma'am.
So what you'll call it?
Assimilatory parts.
It is assimilatory parts. Why? Because they will
Dark
help in
reaction.
dark reaction में क्या होगा? Say soon.
Reduction of CO2.
To form what?
Glucose.
Glucose. तो याद रखो, assimilation of glucose will occur. Okay, so these two ATP and NADPH2 will help in the assimilation of glucose. Okay, so you call it as assimilatory parts. Is it very clear, children? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
That will only, in the exam I will be asking the questions. ऐसा मत सोचो कि सीधा सीधा describe this will be given. So try to understand it very nicely. Okay, so now try to see here the picture children. फिर आप लोग इसका detail देखते हैं. That is here they are showing you the PS1. That is photo system 1. Photo system 1 will have the reaction center. Say soon.
P700.
P700. Okay, so these are the chlorophyll pigment molecules children. They are absorbing the light quanta. यहाँ देखो sun से rays आ रही हैं. The different pigment molecules will absorb the two light quanta. Okay, that is two photons what is written here, and then they will be releasing two electrons. So you can see the arrow going here. So when means as the chlorophyll pigment molecules present in the photosystem 1 absorb the two light quanta, they'll release two electrons. These two electrons will be accepted by the primary acceptor. Okay, that is the electron acceptor. The primary acceptor will transfer the electrons to the ferridoxin. FD is denoting what? Ferridoxin. So I will be giving you written that I'll WhatsApp you the whole of the cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation children. So do not worry. लेकिन यहाँ याद करते जाओ. The first the electrons are accepted by say soon.
Primary acceptors.
The primary acceptor will transfer the electrons to
Ferridoxin.
ferridoxin. Ferridoxin in turn will transfer the electrons to PQ is plastoquinone. What is it?
Plastoquinone.
Then plastoquinone will transfer the electrons to cytochromes. What?
Cytochromes.
तो यहाँ कॉम्प्लेक्स नेम दे दिया है क्योंकि वो साइटोक्रोम बी में जाएगा, साइटोक्रोम एफ में जाएगा, साइटोक्रोम ए में जाएगा, इसलिए इधर सीधा कॉम्प्लेक्स बोल दिया. Okay, I'll give you the detailed diagram later. Then cytochrome complex will then transfer the electrons to plastocyanin. What is this?
Plastocyanin.
And now the electrons will come back to the same reaction center. Is it very clear? तो यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है? साइक्लिक वे में क्या चल रहा है? What is going on here? The transfer of electrons. Okay, in a cyclic way, the transfer of electrons going on. And now see here, cytochrome complex के सामने ADP को ATP में convert होते दिखा रहे हैं. Means when the electrons will be transferred through the different cytochromes, then one ATP molecule will be synthesized. Is it clear? So during this is the cyclic photophosphorylation children. What is it? What is this?
Cyclic photophosphorylation.
Cyclic photophosphorylation. Why? Because the ATP synthesis is going on in the process of the electron transfer, which is going on in a cyclic way. Means it is returning back to the same. Is it clear? The electron, ये याद रखना, electrons when they are released, so in the reaction center, electron hole is formed, and that electron hole is again filled up by the same electron which is coming back. Followed all of you all? Very nicely. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm ending up the class. We have completed with the light reaction. That one, that is only the cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, non-cyclic I will be explaining next period. So I'll send you the figures, children. You all make it in your lecture notebook, in your registers only. And next time when I will be explaining, you will try to see in your own notebook and try to understand the things. Okay, so I'm stopping the sharing. And we'll do Shanti part quickly. So join your hands. Close your eyes. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam children, you all can leave now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Sairam, ma'am.
Sairam.